Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 3 of the Halloween Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing 20 Halloween themed papercraft projects to make with a Cricut machine over 20 days. Today's project took inspiration from one of the projects from last year's Christmas Craft Countdown. For that, we made some hanging decorations, which was a cardinal bird, a robin, and a dove. I really enjoyed seeing all of your little birds hung up, and I got lots of lovely feedback about that project. So I thought maybe we could do the same for this countdown, but make it Halloween themed. So once again, we've got 3 different hanging decorations, and they all have such lovely dimension to them, and they're really simple to put together. The first design that you get is this ghost, and there's 3 pieces to him, and he looks lovely. They've all got little hooks on, so that you can hang them up. The second design is a bat. He's got lots of shapes to him in his wings to give him dimension, and a creepy red eye shining through. And then the third hanging design is, of course, a raven. They're all double-sided. They're lovely and sturdy with all the different layers of card, and they make up these dimensional designs that you can hang wherever you want to in time for Halloween. The files are free for the next 24 hours, and here is how to find them and where to go to download them. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Halloween Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/HCC24. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/HCC24 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Halloween Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. The download comes in a zip folder. You will need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, you'll need to get the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to do that, check out the schedule page for the Halloween Craft Countdown and look for the box near the top of the page called Foundation Learning. Within there is a link to a separate tutorial and video on how to upload SVGs into Design Space. Each of the 3 hanging decorations comes in as a separate SVG file, so if you want to make all 3, then you'll need to load each of the 3 files in. For this video, I'm just going to show the steps for the raven design, but it works exactly the same for the bat and the ghost as well. The designs load in with all of the pieces separate on the page. You can see them here as I scroll down. The raven is the only one that's a little bit different from the other 2, and it's a little hard to see because it's black lines on a dark coloured bird. So I'm just going to change one of the colours of these to show you. So you see now I've changed that. You can see there are little lines in the tail of the raven, and that's present in all of the different body shapes. This is not a score line, it's actually little cut lines that the Cricut will cut along just to make it a bit easier to know where to fold for the tail. This is already programmed into each of the different shapes, so you don't need to do anything with the file to make it cut those lines. It's going to do it automatically and know exactly where to cut. So all of these files are ready to just cut out as is. You don't need to make any changes. But one thing you might want to do is to change the size if you want to make either larger or smaller decorations. Let's just hit that undo button to put my raven back to a dark grey. The easiest way to change the size is to click the design and then press the ungroup button at the top of the layers panel to separate out all the layers. Then, with them all still selected, press Align and then Center. It looks really messy now, but what it's done is it's put all of the pieces one on top of the other, which means it's a little easier to resize. You can look down the layers panel and find one of the largest layers. So for the raven, that is this one here, that's one above the bottom. And I'll change the colour on that one and then go Arrange, Bring to Front. So you can see this is the largest size of the layer. So this gives us the idea of how big the finished raven is going to be. At the moment, it's 6.185 inches wide and 5.867 inches tall. To resize, I'm going to press Select All and then group the layers again by pressing the Group button. And that means I can now change the size quite easily, either by dragging the sides like that, or check the padlock icon is closed above the width and the height boxes. If it's open, then you can click it to close it. And then you can type either the width or height in, press enter on your keyboard, and the other measurement will change in proportion. And remember, that's resizing to the biggest layer so that all of the other layers will end up smaller than that one. So the final bird will end up at about that 4 inches wide. I'm going to do mine as it loaded, so I'll just undo all of that and put it back, and then press Make over on the top right, and that will separate out all the pieces. You can change the paper size in the drop down here, and you can click and drag to move things about if you want to. So for example, you could try moving things about to use less space on your cardstock. And at the moment, it thinks I'm going to need four sheets of this very dark grey. But by rotating and moving things about, you might be able to get it on one less than that. It takes a little bit of time and dedication and playing around. But you can move things about to give yourself more space, and then find one of the pieces on one of the other sheets. Click the 3 little dots and move object. Find the piece where you made the gap, and then move things about. Just make sure that nothing overlaps, otherwise it won't cut out properly. So I'm wondering if I can do the same kind of thing over on this one. I'm not sure I'll be able to fit these on. This one I probably would. And I might even be able to fit that on this one. Possibly not. It's just too big. It wouldn't quite go. Maybe at an angle. You don't have to do any of this at all. I just like using as little sheets of card as I can. And actually that did fit there nicely. So let's see if this one will go on my first sheet. See if I can get it down from 4 to 2. That would be good. Oh, it's going to work. Just going to move those. Oh, not quite. Look, there's the slightest bit of overlap. Oh, so close. Oh, that looks promising. And then move those 2 over there. Okay, I've done it. I've got it down from 4 to 2. So this would be my first one. And this is my second one. And then these 2 are now empty, which means when I click continue to connect to the Cricut, those empty ones will disappear. So yeah, it does take a little bit of time, but if you're like me and you like to hoard your craft supplies instead of actually using them, and you like to use every single inch as much as you can, then I think it's worth just putting that little bit of time in at the start. But you go ahead, get everything looking how you want it to, then press continue to connect to your Cricut and get everything cut out from cardstock. I'm going to cut one of each of the raven, the ghost and the bat designs, and I'll show you how to put each one together. Here are all the pieces for all 3 hanging decorations cut out, and I've also got some black embroidery thread which I'm going to use to hang up the bat and the raven, and some white cotton that I use for the ghost. And then we'll also need some glue and some foam squares. These are a little bit bigger than the ones I normally use, which will be fine for this project. Alright, we'll do the ghost first because it's the easiest one. We've got 3 pieces, and one of them has the face cut out. So this one, you want to turn it upside down and then add some glue around that face cut out, and then we'll stick the black circle over the back. And that will just fill in that facial expression so you can see it a little easier. There we go. While that's drying, we'll do the back of the ghost. So you've got the one piece that's got the hanger on the top. This is for the middle. And then the ghost piece that's just the silhouette will go on the back. I'll add my cotton first. I'm going to do a little bit longer than I'll probably end up using, just so I can cut it smaller if I need to at the end. I'm going to fold this in half. It's going to be really hard to see. It'll be easier when I do the ones with the black thread. So fold it in half to get a loop and put that through the hole. There we go. Pull it through. Open up that loop. And then thread the other two sides through. Pull them all the way and pull it tight. And that way you've secured your thread onto the hook. I can turn this over. I've got my ghost here. And we'll just add a couple of foam squares to the body, just 2. Don't put it in the arms or the very bottom bit, as we'll be folding that up to give it some depth. Attach the ghost on the back. Here we go. And then I'll put it round. Do the same thing on the front. 2 pieces of foam square. And then the front of the ghost. Alright, now for the fun bit. I'm going to gently bend the arms on that front piece out towards me, and then get his little bottom tail bit. And again, just on that first ghost piece, the one that's got the face cut out, I'm sort of bending those upwards a little bit towards me to give it some dimension. And then turn it round and do the same on the back piece. So the arms come out towards you, a little bit like a butterfly. And then the base can come out a little bit. So I'm not really creasing it and folding it. It's more of a gentle bend. And that's it for the ghost. There we go. Now he's got loads of dimension in when he's hung up. He's looking really lovely. Okay, one done. Nice and simple. Let's move on to the bat next. There are 2 bits we'll need to stick on here to put the eyes in. So it's got some creepy red eyes. And then the rest of the bat, there's quite a lot of pieces in here. So we've got 3 bits for each side, all slightly different sizes. Then there's the middle bit, which is the one with the hook. And also the one with the eye belongs to that too. And then you've got the same pieces for the other side. There we go. So what we want to do first is get the 2 with the eye cutouts. And we'll stick our red pieces here onto the back. We want them facing opposite directions so that when it's all put together, it will match up. Okay, so a little bit of glue around the eyes. 1 bat facing each direction. And then these bits line up around that mouth hole so that you can put them in place. Like that. Okay, those need to dry. So let's add the thread to the middle bit. I want my threads to end up looking quite subtle, so I'm only using 1 strand of the embroidery thread. I'm doing the same thing. I folded it in half to make a loop. And then I'll put that through the hole. Put it through a bit so I can open it up. And there we go. And then pull the other bits through and pull it tight. This is too long for when I hang it up, but I'd rather have it too long and be able to cut it when I know where I'm going to put it. Next, you want to make sure you've got all your sides in the correct order. So I've got 1 of each sized piece up there and 1 down here on my left. And the biggest pieces will go on first. So I've got my base here, and then this is the largest one. You can tell by putting them one on top of the other to see the sizes. It's probably really hard to see on the video, but you can see the one on top is just that slightly bit smaller. And then there's one which is slightly smaller again. And then the one with the eye will go on top. So got this one here, and we'll add glue all the way along that base piece. And then with the wing, I'm going to roll it around and kind of tuck it underneath. I'm not holding it in place there, but I just want to get a nice roll to that wing shape. And then glue it on top. And the body shape will line up on this one, like that. And then we'll do the same for the next two. So this is my next size down. I roll that wing round. And then add glue on here. You can put the glue on the back of the new piece if you prefer. And then this will go on and the wings will tuck in. Can be a little tricky to get them in, but they'll line up nicely. We'll play about with the wings a bit at the end to get them in shape a little bit better. And then the same for the next one. And then one left, which is the one with the eye. This one I'm going to put on with foam squares to help give it a little bit more dimension. So again, just 2 should be fine. Although it would be better with a little one in the tail too. Let's grab a smaller foam square and add that. And then fold that wing. Stick in place. Okay, here's my little bat on one side. I'm not going to worry too much about those wings right this second, but you can already see how it is starting to take shape. I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Now, if you found it easier, you could leave all the wings flat until you've put it all on and then bend them down one at a time. I did find it easier to bend them first, even though that makes the second half slightly trickier because you've got to kind of stick it on when it's got all that dimension to it. But we'll do the same thing on this one. Just remember your bat's the opposite way around to go on that other side. There's the second side done. My bat is now lovely and double-sided. And you can see all of the depth when you look at it from the top. And here's how it'll hang up. It's a little bit hard to see on the camera. But now that you've got all this in place, you can start playing about with the wings, adding as much or as little gap between each one as you want, just by sort of carefully folding it round. So I've got quite a lot on there. It might look a bit weird from this angle when you look at it on camera, but in real life, it all kind of goes together and ends up looking really striking and effective. I'm just going to do the other one as well, just sort of bending these around each other. Like that. And there we go. Number 2 is done. All right, let's move very swiftly on to the third and final hanging decoration, which is the raven. Here are all the pieces for the raven, and this one works very similarly to the bat in that we have the same shapes for each side of the raven. We've got 3 different raven shapes. Then there's the middle bit, and then the same 3 shapes for the other side. It's a bit hard to show them all on camera. And then this time we've also got some other pieces, which I've got here, which are for the face. So we'll do the face gluing first. Move these out of the way. So we've got pieces that go in both directions, just like with the bat, so that we'll have one for each side of the raven. So make sure you position them so that you've got one for each and they're facing opposite directions. And I've just noticed the little bit on the beak on this grey bit hasn't come out. So let's just poke that through with my weeding tool. There we go. The white bit goes at the bottom. Glue the black bits on top. I'll line up exactly. There we go. And the same for the one on the other side. Don't add the beaks onto these bits, they go onto the actual raven body shape. So put those two on, and then we can get our raven, and then add some glue to the back, and glue the relevant side on so that the white will now be facing upwards on the back of that piece. And I'll do the opposite for the other side. So on this one, because this one's facing that way, I want this one to face that way. And add the other eye on here. Like that. Then we can turn them round. It doesn't matter which way around you do it in terms of the little cut lines in the tail. So it just doesn't really make a difference. Then a little bit of glue on the beaks on both of these ravens and put the beak pieces on top. You see that's given him a really nice detailed face with that eye in there. Okay, middle bit with the hook, and add your twine, ribbon, thread, whatever it is that you are going to be hanging it up with. I've got another piece of my black embroidery thread. Through the hole, pull it through, open up that loop, and then pull the ends through and pull it tight. Alright, for the raven we'll be using mostly foam squares, and I'm going to put 3 along here, like that. And then choose one of the largest pieces of the raven. For the tail, fold it downwards along where those cut lines are. And then again, we can bend the wing a little bit. I'm not going quite as far as I did for the bat, and you'll see why in a little while. And then line that up and stick it down. And then we've got the next piece. So again, fold it down along the tail, do a little bend in the wing, and I'll stick this on with some more foam squares. For this one, unlike with the bat, I want the wings to be a little closer together. So to help facilitate that, I'm going to add a foam square about almost halfway up the wing and kind of centered vertically. I just feel like for the raven it looks more realistic with a little bit of depth coming out, but not as much as with the bat. And then the final one for this side is the one with the face. I'm going to do the same thing. This time though, I'm going to glue the body, but I will still add a bit of foam square to the wing. You can foam the body if you want to, but it does end up a little bit too thick if you do it that way. There's the bird piece, and just want to get that foam square bit stuck too. Okay, there is that. Again, we'll fluff out the wings more at the end. If you do want your wings on the raven to be more like the bat, where there's loads of depth between them, then you don't need to add the foam squares that go up into the middle. And we'll turn this round and do the same thing on the other side. Did you see me just throw that across the table? Did not mean to do that. Anyway, this is the largest of the wing shapes for the other side. And then the middle one next. Right, that's all those pieces stuck. I've got my little hanging bit. Now you might find that sometimes it doesn't quite hang straight when you hang it up. So if that's the case, just play about with the wings until you get them so that it does hang upright. Also depends a little bit on the thickness of the card you've used and also the twine. Now I'm not sure. I see what I've done. My thread has fallen off a little bit. There we go. It had gone round, so it wasn't quite in the right place. There we go. And it hangs. Now, I don't know why it's turning like that. Every other one I've done, because I've made quite a few of these, so I can put them all on a little Halloween tree. Every other one has hung absolutely fine. You can see that one. But obviously the one I do on the video is not quite working. So that one will hang absolutely fine like it's supposed to. Maybe it just needs a little bit more bend. It's typical, isn't it, that things go wrong when I'm doing the video, and it's been fine on all the other ones. There we go, that's a little bit better. Alright, so folding those wings outwards a bit more helps to get it hanging straight. So if you're struggling with that, there we go. That is what you need to do. So, despite some slight teething problems, is it still called teething problems if it's at the end? Final problems? I don't know how to say it. But anyway, we've ended up with the 3 hanging decorations all done. There's the raven with his beautiful layered wings. We've got the bat with his creepy red eye. And our little simple ghost as well. I hope that you've enjoyed making these hanging decorations along with me. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 4 of the Halloween Craft Countdown. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!